If you're a person that has been looking at the court, you show up to a class or you show up to play with some friends, and all of a sudden there's somebody standing at the net and they're holding signs behind their back, and you ask yourself, what in the heck does that mean? There are two basic calls that I believe every beginner and intermediate should be using, and those blocks are most likely going to be a 1 or a 2 block. A 1 means that the blocker, whenever a blocker is showing you a sign, they're showing you what they plan on doing, what they plan on taking. So if I'm the blocker at the net and I have my 2 hands, then both of my hands are assigned to the players that are on the other side of the court. Or if you want to go a little bit more specific, you can say the side of the court that they're on, depending on if people are going behind, but that's kind of an advanced topic. So let's assume that the attackers are going to stay, if they're a left side hitter, they're going to stay on the left. If they're a right side hitter, they're going to stay on the right. Mm-hmm. So my right hand would go to the player that's to my right. My left hand would go to my player that's to the left of me when I'm looking at them. If I hold up a 1, then that means that I am responsible for the line behind me. Okay. If I am holding up a 1, that means that I am going to take the line hit of that attacker.
For those people who have never done it before, what does a line hit mean?
So that would mean that whatever the sideline that is closest to them. So if they're a left side player and my left shoulder is closest to my sideline and the attacker is blocking line in front of me, then that means that if I was to run in and hit a ball straight down the line in front of me with the sideline that I'm currently standing on, then that would be a line hit from me. The other option is that I can hit cross, which would mean that if I'm going into the court, instead of hitting straight in front of me, I would hit angled into the cross court.
I like the way you put that. The line hit is the one that gets hit closest to that person's sideline. That's their line. If they hit to the half of the court, the sideline that's closest to them, that's their line. It's a really tough concept for somebody who's never played like a tennis or volleyball. What is line? Because I know we've got a lot of beginners out there who have, they say, yeah, okay, line, but they still don't know what it means. And maybe sometimes after years, they still don't know what line means. But everybody kind of picks up on diagonal.
Yeah. I think as long as you think about, let's divide the court in half, right? And I mean long ways. So if we put a line and make a line straight down the center of the court, that would cut through both halves of the court. Then if I'm on the left side of the court, if I hit the ball to my left side, then that would be a line hit. If I'm hitting it onto the other half of the court, that would be a cross court hit. And so kind of going back to the block calls, when I hold up a 1, that means that I'm responsible for the line. It doesn't always mean that I'm necessarily always going to block line. It just means that that area of the court is my responsibility. And the reason I say that is because if I decide that the attacker on the other side of the net isn't a threat, meaning that they can't hit the ball hard down, like a really fun spike that you see somebody hitting really hard and afterwards they're really pumped up about.
Super fun.
If they can't do that, then I don't necessarily need to be blocking at the net. That's my decision as a blocker if I want to stay. But if I decide that they're not a threat, meaning they can't go up and kind of make the crowd go ooh and ah, then I can pull back and defend the same spot on the court that I was planning on taking with my block. So if I hold up a 1 block or a line, this is a line as well. That'll make sense in a little bit. So 1 finger is also a line. You can remember it that way. If the person's going up and I see that they're going to hit hard, then I'm just going to jump up. I'm going to put my hands over the net. I'm going to block, and I'm going to take away what would be that straight down the line, down their sideline hit.
I'm going to jump in real quick. If you're big enough to be a blocker.
Right.
So that person's got to hit hard enough and down enough for you to merit a block, and you got to be big enough to merit a block. And if you cannot easily get your full hands over the net, just don't block, period.
But kind of, I want to get through this a little quick, but if you're not a blocker, then you turn into a net protector and you're pretty much going to run up to the net. You're going to look the exact same as a blocker until you see that set. And then if you're a blocker, person who can get your hands over the net, like Mark was saying, then obviously you have the option of jumping and blocking. If you are not a blocker, if you're what we call a net protector, then you're just looking to see if that set comes over the net, or if it's tight enough to where you can battle up there, then you would pull off the net and defend the same area of court that you called with that line. with that block. So it's really important for, even if you're not a blocker, if you consider yourselves a net protector, meaning that you're just looking for the overset and then you're retreating back to play defense, it's still important for you to give signs. One of my biggest pet peeves is when I see a short person standing in the middle of the court holding two fists behind their back saying that they're not blocking anything. And I hate it. Get up to the net, tell me what you plan on defending so that I can get established as a defender on my side, because I need to know my responsibilities as well. And if you tell me that you're not blocking, all I know is that I'm going to run onto an area of court that you're not currently taking. So we need to establish what you plan on taking, even if you consider yourself a net protector.